Hello?
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 Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah?
Yeah, this is Alex. How are you doing?
Hey, Alex. Yeah, I try to get in sessions, but it looks like I'm a participant.
Okay, are you logged into your account right now?
I'm not sure. I just logged in.
Okay, if you look in the top right corner of your screen, do you see a little picture, like a symbol?
I see my initials.
Okay, yeah, so you're logged in. So let me just take a look at the settings for the session.
I s-
Just give me a second, please.
Oh, Kelsey says we can see and hear you. Hey.
Okay, oh, you're probably in the booth right now. Let me just take a quick look.
Yeah, but it looked like I was registered as an attendee, not as a.
Yeah, okay, yeah, no, I see you on the screen right now.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, you're broadcasting right now.
Okay, so I guess what I do is um just check my chat.
Yep. So
Okay.
it's on the right hand side there, and just if anyone says anything, just respond to them. Just do a thing like that.
Okay. All right, cool.
Okay.
Okay, thanks for calling.
No problem.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, am I live? Oh. Okay. Hi, how are you? But I can't hear you. See how technically challenged I am? I can speak, but I can't hear you. Ah, okay. That's too bad. That'd be nice to have a back and forth. Oh, okay. I just thought I would do that. Sorry. It's kind of weird because I can't hear you. Did you have any questions for me? I do not do taxes. Um, I hate taxes, to be quite honest. However, if you're self-employed, you still have until June 15th to file your taxes. If you're got it like a regular income T4 income, the deadline is Monday at midnight. Um, that's a very important deadline, especially if you're going to be owing taxes. If you're not going to be owing taxes, you still should try to file, but at this point, it's going to be really hard. I know the girl that I usually refer, she's basically said to us, I'm full for June 1st. She may be able to accommodate other filings after June 1st. Does that help? Let me ask her actually. Okay. I'm gonna email my contact. I know she's up to her wazoo. She's probably been hasn't slept in 3 days. Poor thing. But yeah. Let's see. I'm gonna see if she's willing to accept any clients after Monday. Oh, one more thing. If you file before the end of Monday and you owe money to the CRA, you actually have until September 1st to make your payment without penalty. That's another thing that's important.
Hey Ingrid,
Hey, Mark.
how are you?
How are you? I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. I just wanted to kind of drop by, say hi, see how things are going. It sounds like you're doing some work at the same time.
I'm sorry?
It sounds like you're doing some work.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm working from home and it is what it is. I'm very technologically like I'm like, oh, I'm just really bad. So so I was just messaging a girl back and forth and she says she can hear me, but I can't see her. But I
So
guess that
yeah,
depends on the person.
she has to share her audio and video. There's a blue button that she has to click on in order for you to see her.
Oh, okay, okay. All
Yeah.
right. So, yeah, so I'm sort of multitasking. So
Yeah.
I'll be here, but I'll come back and forth. And but I guess are there a lot of people logged in?
Yeah, but you can see, I think you can see in the top right corner 93, a little green dot. Do you see that?
93. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's how many people are live for the event.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, no, I just messaged a girl about taxes, and I'm trying to find out is top on mind for everybody right now because they are due Monday, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But she says if I do them, and I have a girl that I refer clients to, and I'm just trying to see like obviously she's never going to get them done for Monday, but I think the important thing is if I can say hey. I'm trying to see if she will be accepting any referrals, and she's really reasonable. So hopefully she'll get back to me.
Right.
Yeah.
So a couple of things I want to mention is see the chat, your session chat. Like if somebody doesn't want to their microphone on or whatever, you can send them a message, you can type a message so they can see it.
On the right hand side, yeah.
Yeah, you see where I put hi Ingrid?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so that's your session. That's your particular one. And then if you click on the event, you can see what's going on in the event.
Okay, so I wrote a little description of who I was, a little more detailed.
Yeah.
Just so it's there.
And, oh, I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, just so people know. So I don't have to keep, but I didn't realize that if someone types, they can see and hear me.
Yes.
But I can't see and hear them. So
well, I guess they have to share their microphone. Like they have to share the video and microphone.
So how do you do that?
Well, just now when I came to the booth, there was a little option, a little blue bar that came on and said share audio and video.
For you?
For me, yeah. Everybody who comes to your booth. So if anybody comes to your booth and doesn't click that blue button because they don't want to share it or whatever, you won't see it.
Gotcha.
They may chat. They may not want to be visible.
Yeah. Okay. I get it.
The thing I would suggest is, if you want to leave your booth for a few minutes, if you click on the networking on the left-hand side, you see the little
network.
So in that, it will randomly connect you with other people that are there that want to connect as well.
Okay.
So they give you like a minimum of 30 seconds, maximum of 4 minutes. And you can meet more people that way, right? If nobody's coming to your booth or if you have a period where nobody's come, you can go into the networking. It'll connect you with other people that may want to connect with you too.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I was saying when I'm multitasking, so my office is actually my laundry room too. So I got a load to fold. So if you see me going like this with a towel.
I agree. Yeah. So you were at the 2017 event at the Rock Pile. Yeah. And then a couple of years, I guess 3 events, or no, two at the.
Yeah, no, I've been to the one in Mississauga a couple times. I think for what I do though, it's very loud and it's hard to have a conversation, right? Because like it's not like, hey, here's my book or whatever. Like it's you need to have a really concise conversation with somebody. And I found it, especially the last one, was super loud, right? Like I guess that's the space and the acoustics of the room and what have you, especially when the artists were playing. So another thing is because I'm very overregulated, like this is now, I don't know if I explained this all to you. with the regulators, the provincial ones like IROC, which is the Investment Industry Regulatory Organization of Canada. This is actually an official, what they call outside business activity, OBA. I have to be super careful about providing advice. And I can give like tips like, hey, like, do you do taxes? No, but you know, that kind of stuff. But if somebody comes to me and says specific things, they have to kind of, if they really want to engage, like, well, I can have a basic conversation, but if they want to get deep in the weeds and want me to analyze their portfolio or whatever, then they have to connect with me through the day gig.
Right.
Yeah. So another thing is, because it's a not income generating side hustle, if I spend money, I can't deduct that, right? That's the thing. So
Yeah, I get it. Here's another idea, because I mean, you really want to be musicians, right? I mean, that's really where you want to go.
Well, that's just a segment of my client base.
Yeah, for purposes of music, right? That's you want to hit with the musicians, right?
Well, the thing is, yeah, I have like I have a basket of them, and I just I like music, so I just combining the two passions.
Yeah.
And I, for example, I have an artist who, and he doesn't have very much assets with me, but his grandmother has passed away, and he's like, okay, like, I'm gonna get some, you know, what do I do? Like, I'm gonna get some money, and I want to make sure I do the smart things with it. So we start talking about goals and objectives and things like that. So everybody has a different thing. I've actually done some insurance for some other artists. So I'm also insurance licensed, which is also another outside business activity, technically speaking. So again, it's more about getting the name out there. And if people, you know, I have a client who actually sells riffs, to hip hop artists, and he's got all kinds of different income streams, and he's young and he's super talented. So I'm getting in the grassroots with him. And so it depends on the client, right? If they want to work with somebody, and if they just want to pick my brain for free advice, and, you know, that's not going to happen, right? Like, for, you know, like, if they send me if they have holdings, they send me their portfolio and they want me to analyze it, I'm not going to, right? Mm-hmm. That kind of thing. Yeah. First, I can't, because they're not my client, right? So, yeah. So anyways, it's kind of every case, it's case by case basis. So if somebody just wants, I've done a couple of them for just consulting kind of fees, and my generally I charge, if I want to do a financial plan for a client and they want to keep their assets where they are, but, you know, they want to get a certified financial planner to develop a hard written detailed financial plan, my normal charge is $250 an hour. Now, for musicians, it's $50. Right? But they need to have this, and this. Depending on the client, I need to say, you know, I need you to have this, I need you to have that. You know, it's $50 an hour. We're not here to talk about the last show you went to, which is, of course, there hasn't been any, but, you know, we have to be serious. And if you don't have this, and this, you have to get, you know, this, and this before we engage in a conversation, right? So that's kind of how it works.
Got it. All right, cool. I just want to pop in, say hello again. I haven't seen you in a couple of years.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Are you like neighbors with Gord Depp or something? Like, that he's always at these things?
I think he lives in Oakville. I live in Mississauga, but no, I've been at the last one, and you know, he likes doing this stuff, and I kind of like being connected with him in a way, but I'm not friends with him in the sense that, you know, they go for beers or anything like that.
Yeah. No, because he's always at your things, which I found kind of cute, you know. But he looks amazing. Like, he's I actually wrote him a blog on him in my last. You should look it up when you have time.
Oh, really?
About my little conversation with Gord.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it was pretty good. But yeah.
Well,
if you go on wealthymusician.ca, and I have thewealthymusician.ca.
Okay.
And if you look at there's 4 sections of blogs. I think it's about the 3rd or 4th newest one. But there's a section called Interview with the Vampire, and I wrote my little interview with Gord.
Wait, is it The Wealthy Musician, not Singing, or Wealthy Musician?
The Wealthy Musician.
Okay, so I'm on there I go. Home?
Home, it'll say, I think that there's about latest riff. Maybe it's probably going to be about 3 or 4 down in the latest riff, because it would have been in January, right?
Yeah. Oh, Michael Spence. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I have to roll because I have to do an on stage at 11:30. But going to the networking, I think it's fun.
Yeah, I will. Yeah.
You want to?
Right.
All right.
Okay.
So thanks so much for coming.
Yeah. Take care. Thanks for asking me.
No problem. Take care. Bye.
Bye. Hi, Steven. No. Can you hear me? I see your. Let me see. Oh. I'm clicking on your. I am so technically challenged. That's unbelievable. I think you have to click something. A blue bar, Mark was saying? I'm trying to click on your name, but. How do I approve the hop on the screen? Ah, does that help? Oh wait, I think I got it, maybe? Oh my god, I'm so stupid. It says one request in the queue. Oh, did you hear me swear? I wonder if that did it work? Because I don't know how Mark got me on somebody. Oh wait, maybe here. Ugh. You can if you have a question for me, Stephen, you can type it in, and I will try and answer best I can. How's that? Because I don't know what's going on. Let me I'm going to call Alex because I don't know how to let you in.
Hello?
Okay, you probably never let me in your panels again. So, okay, so I have somebody who wants to join, and his little box is in the bottom left-hand corner, and I keep clicking on it, but nothing's happening.
Do you see like a green plus symbol?
Oh wait, yeah, did that work?
Yeah.
Ah!
Yep, there you go.
Yay! Thank you.
Tech
Yay!
Thank you, Alex.
Oh my God, I am such a yeah.
That's okay. I could have typed something, but I was kind of like, I think there might be feedback on your phones. 1 second.
Do you still hear feedback?
No, it's pretty good. Can you hear me okay?
I hear feedback on my side. I'm not sure if people.
Oh, I don't have my earbuds in. Maybe I don't even know if I have any earbuds that would work for that because I'm an iPhone.
It's
Can you
okay.
hear me okay though?
Yeah, it's fine. So you love music, and I think you're a financial advisor at Sunday Capital Management,
Correct.
according to LinkedIn. Oh, you worked at CIBC before.
Oh, man, am I glad I'm out of there. Sorry, I hope you're not.
I am a customer of theirs technically, but multiple banks. I love the subject that you're bringing up when it comes to financial literacy and musicians. I've worked as a musician. I went to sales. Now I'm working for a sync licensing company, startup in Montreal. Like, what can you just say, like, straight up to people, like your pitch, the wealthy musician, how should musicians think of money and use it to kind of,
Yeah, I think a lot of the artists that I've dealt with, they plan for tomorrow or today, and there's not a lot of forethought. For example, there's a couple of them that are like, oh my God, I have to do my income tax. And then if they end up owing, then where are they going to get the money from? So especially it's a really weird economy now for artists, and the ones who have different revenue streams that come in, like sync licensing, or they're selling their songs or riffs or whatever. I think at the end of it, a lot of them don't have the organizational structure in place, right? And what I generally, for the ones who do have investable assets, I suggest, opening up a tax-free savings account. So I guess every artist is different. I was just telling Mark Balanche that I have one I'm working with right now who's sadly, his grandma passed away, not COVID related, but what do I do? Like, what are my next steps? So we talk a lot about the planning and what are your goals? What are your objectives? One of the things that I was very big on, even before COVID, was having an emergency reserve. Right? And a lot of time we go through cash flow planning. The stuff I see on credit cards, I hate credit cards, like carrying debt, which is kind of tricky to not do now for a lot of people. But, I've had some conversations this morning with a girl, and I said, listen, the first thing you do is you call your bank, right? And see, given the situation and everything else, what, maybe they can reduce your interest rate or whatever. So everyone's different. Everyone has their own thing that kind of keeps them up at night, if you will, right?
I mean, for sure. When it comes to the future, I mean, for musicians right now.
Oh, I know. It's brutal. Yeah.
But even across different industries, I speak to a lot of people in advertising and production, on TV and stuff, and I feel a lot of people want optimism now, and when it comes to financial planning, it seems like kind of scarier, daunting thing for musicians, or just.
Yeah, I mean, in my household, I'm the breadwinner because I'm considered essential. My husband is in the gig economy, so he's got an audiovisual company, and sales of like cameras and whatever. I don't even know what that.
Gotcha,
But for him, he's flatlined. Like there's nothing. So I mean, it's affecting me personally as well, right? But sometimes having a planner in the household, we do have the fallback plan and things like that. I'm still bringing in an income, but I think this whole concept of what are we going to do tomorrow at the panic, and it's what are our options now? When there's no money coming in, it really is. It's tough on a lot of people, our artists, anybody like who's been affected. Even like I have a client who's was a call it a bartender. I don't like a bar manager, and he's stuck too, right? So I think we shall get through this at the end of the day. And if I can just take one thing and help a person, even if it's small, like for example the girl with the credit card debt, then I think I've done my job, right? And there's a lot of things out there with people that just file for bankruptcy or whatever, or there are other options available to that person. Having worked in a bank for 12 years, I also did a lot of lending. And a lot of I wouldn't actually be the mortgage underwriter. Sorry, I was going to adjust my chair. But I would be the person putting the application on the system and telling the story of the client, why we should or should not, why we should obviously give the mortgage. So I understand ratios, I understand credit scores and, things like that. So, if people are in that position, they should, number one, don't think it's okay to go stiff your TELUS bill. Do you know what I mean? Because they're the first ones to put an R9 on your bureau, like a collection. So, I mean, again, it's trying to educate, I guess, is the big thing. So with the whole blog, I write a monthly blog, and I have some really old stuff there I have to say needs to be updated. But, I think people say, wow, thanks for that, because I didn't know that. Or, that really helped me, right? So I don't know if that helps you at all, Stephen, but.
Yeah, no, I think it's great knowledge. I mean, I've always well, I'm a bit irresponsible financially, but I'm somewhat of a fan of what's going on. And I think, you know, people who are in the industry and many people who work with money as an investable asset and what to do right now in the market, and how to approach it, and that sort of stuff. You know, but tell me, I go over the money stuff or whatever. Tell me just a bit more about yourself. You have a passion for music and stuff like that. I mean, you've worked with some artists. How did it come about that you ended up, you know, working with that and getting
yeah, I had a referral from an existing client who said, you know, I want you to meet my friend. He's a musician. He actually, I have to be careful who, you know, because privacy and stuff.
Of course.
But this guy was a touring musician for a band, and he was actually like a young guy, great guitar player. You know, was touring around, and I think he actually sat on a couple albums and blah blah blah. So he does it for, but he ended up, like, you know, I think he actually wrote a song that got bought by somebody, so he had songwriter, so he had, like, he went through the whole SOCAN thing, and but I think they actually paid him outright for the song. So he ended up, like, walking into this money, and my client said, I want you to meet this guy because I really, I don't know, I think you'd be good for him. So I sat down with the client, and I helped him out, and, you know, again, we talked about, like, what are his objectives, what does he want to do, blah blah, and so we got a little plan going, and you know, it's not a big account, like for the artists, I don't really have like a line in the sand, if you will, for them, right? So it's just sort of giving back, because I'm a music junkie and I am so missing going to shows, like, it's crazy. But so that's how I stumbled into it. Then he kind of passed my name along to somebody else. So, and quickly by talking to some artists, not all artists, but some artists, it's like, wow, you really, like, the basics of financial knowledge are lower than they really should be. And I think that's part and parcel because the schools don't teach it. And finally, someone got their head out of their ass and said, oh, let's start teaching this in grade 10. And I think, you know, say when for one guy, all we did is his cash flow planning. And, you know, he had this bank account that with all the bells and whistles, he didn't need it, right? He's paying $25 a month.
He was upsold.
Yeah, so the bank gets the gray dollars, as we used to call them, and oh yeah, great sale, you sold an unlimited, blah blah blah, right? So I had a girl, you know, and the client didn't need it. Sorry, that's my dryer. And when we went through it, I'm like, you know, dude, you can't keep going to the white label bank machines. I said, do you know how much money this is costing you? And long story short, I think we annualized it. Like, I looked at his statements over 6 months. So even little things like that, it's like, well, I thought they were free. Well, they're not free. Yeah, it's costing you, like, you know, whatever, $275 at this machine. And then your bank is charging you $350. So it's costing you $7 to get 20, and you're doing it 3 times a night. So, and I said, listen, do me a favor for the next month, if you're going to go out on a weekend, give yourself a budget, bring in cash, leave all the cards behind, right? Yeah. So he did that. And he says, oh my God, thank you so much. This is the first time he said in years, I think that I haven't been living in my overdraft, right? And I actually feel pretty good on the weekends when I wake up because I'm not drinking as much. So I meant, like I said, like that, it was a very simple fix, a very simple suggestion, and you know, it helped the client, right?
Yeah,
that's I think what's happened is, I think if you really look at the root of it, I think it's our education system has failed a lot of young people when it comes to personal financial.
Oh yeah, I mean you could go on about it for a long time, but when I was in economics class, and we learned supply and demand, and I sold some stuff. We did like you know, you make a product. They didn't say stuff like, here's how you do taxes. This is what taxes are. This is what income is. Here's how you know, get your mortgage together so you become pre-approved. Here's what real estate is. Here's what renting is. Like, how, you know what I mean? I guess it's left to the parents in a way, but the school system, for me, I mean, I can speak a bit of Spanish and French. Well, a lot of French and Spanish. I'm in Montreal. You know, I learned a lot of great things in school, actually, I did. But in terms of financial literacy, it's like something that you're going to have to deal with, and it's not highlighted at all, oddly enough.
No, probably not. And here's me, because I'm such a I hate banks, but we need to have a good banking system. So sadly, yes, we have to use banks. But I think part of it is banks, I don't think really wanted the average person. They want them to have interest, pay interest on the credit cards. They want them to go in their app overdrafts, because guess what? It's at 23%. They want all this because that's where the banks are making their money, right? That's not a lot of, and even all this stuff about you know, your when you have a credit card, you buy that extra insurance. It's like, you're never going to qualify. They're going to deny this for you, right? So, you know, it's they're big money makers for banks, and everything they say about the banks is true. So, I mean, I should have actually left. I was there for almost 13 years. But my dynamics had changed, and my kid's, he's 17 now. So when I left, it was like, I kind of wanted to leave, but, you know, for me, that was close to home. You know, my kids were in school, and everything was close together. So the dynamics were good, like logistically at the time. And it wasn't all bad, Stephen, I have to admit. Like, it was probably only in the last, well, before I left, probably the final 3 to 4 years where it was like, it was an exercise in box ticking, right? So, and it was just like, I'm not saying too good for this, but like, come on, are you kidding me? Like, it was just, it got to be not even micromanaged. It was like, even the level, like even more minuscule. So it was a good time to leave. And I'm so glad I did. And I'm so much happier. So with me, I'm self-employed. And you know, this whole thing with the wealthy musician, it's not an income generating kind of thing. Right. So this is sort of something that if somebody really wants to engage me, my professional, like for consult or whatever, they have to contact me through my day gig. And this is just sort of, hey, this is Ingrid. This is what I do. This is how I can add value. What are your specific things, you know, that you want to talk about? So sometimes, you know, because I understand the dynamics and where the musicians, they can get like different revenue streams and how it works. And, you know, it's just kind of I think a big thing, a lot of artists, they need to get better organized. And I think that's something that they need to do. And I trust me, I am like kind of organized, but I could be way better organized, right? Like give me a break. I'm doing my taxes now. Like what the like, you know, like
a lot of things are happening, you know.
Yeah.
You need to be you know.
Yeah. So I mean, but you know, I write a monthly blog, and I wrote, like, of course, yesterday I had to go to my this is my home office, right? So it's kind of like also my laundry room, but I had to go to my physical office, which is in Etobicoke, near just west side of Toronto, and I sent out my blog to tell about what's happening today, right? So and I'm like, well, I should have done this, you know, last week. But it just the way things happened, you know, last week got really hectic for me. But yeah. So do you have any other side? You're an artist. So do you have a day gig?
Yeah, I've been employed this whole time. I'm in the licensing space.
Oh, good.
So I work for Music, which came from Apollo Studios, known as Apollo for many years. We do sync licensing, so music advertising.
Yeah, big money in that.
Yeah, there's money. Yeah, there's big money for sure. Lots of money. And yeah, so that's. I mean, my manager, they are very, very financially. Like they are very. They know what they're doing. So, but I'm always, I feel like and me on music, or business, or whatever. Write a lot of emails, phone calls, whatever. Communicate. And being more financially literate, and like, you know, accounting things, you know, before pass the night out, or budget, you know, like way more organized. And, you know, you work at a bank, you see how they organize. I have a question. I don't know about everything. What do you think of Tangerine and like Scope like that? Like, do you have any thoughts on that?
So, sorry, can you repeat that question?
Just Tangerine Bank.
Oh, Tangerine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for day-to-day banking needs, they're great. Like for your everyday, you know, if you just want to have a checking account, the only thing you have to watch with Tangerine or Simply or any of those places, if you need to get money to another account, right? You need to not, generally speaking, you need to give it 2 days. That's the only thing. So if you have like your rent due on the 1st, for example, and you move money from your Tangerine account to your TD account, it might not make it there in time. That's the only thing that, unless they've improved that, I know with a lot of these types of banks that can be an issue. I have basically these, you know, a bank like that, or, you know, like the PC Bank, like they're you're not going to get, like for investment advice, you're not going to get it there. Sorry. Direct rate insurance. I don't know that number. So you're not gonna, you know, they're not gonna know the actual person. And I think especially now with everything with COVID, people say, oh, we don't need advisors. It's funny how Questrade is not giving out their numbers for March yet, because they're so bad. So I mean, if you have 3 things, if you've got the time and you've got the interest and you've got the knowledge to do everything yourself, great. But if one of those elements is missing, then sometimes it does make sense to engage somebody, right? So I've been a CFP for Certified Financial Planner for over 20 years. And I've gone through several market cycles. Like my clients, my day gig clients, they've been great. Like most of my time has been spent just calling them and just saying, how are you? Like we've hardly talked about market, and maybe, well, what are my accounts doing? So I'm not gonna lie to you, they're down. You know, whatever the market gaveth in 2019, the market tooketh, but the markets giveth back a little bit, right? So my clients don't really care. Like they understand that, and it's like to bail in a down market, you need to have that. You have to take that coping, the command, and it's a lot of, you know, just talking to people. Like I was on a conversation with a client just because, like, should I wear a mask in the elevator? and this person doesn't have a whole lot of people to talk to, and I know that, right? So, you know, I always have when I see her calling, I always have something else that I can multitask and do. But that's, you know, but again, it's like if you're just like, if you just need basic day-to-day banking, there's nothing wrong with things like that, right?
Yeah, a lot of independent. You know, they totally tough. I mean, I have a lot of friends who kind of over now. What I was asking was the source of cash. If you do it consistently, and you have to, put it on your some musicians to get cash based.
Yeah.
Right. And I've never, from my circle, I haven't heard any horror stories. I'm sure over time there's stories who maybe make
like you're saying, like
reported and get audited.
Yeah. So like you're saying, if they do a gig, someone just hands them, $500 cash, right? That kind of thing, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking of.
Well, I'm just, throwing that out there. Yeah, because if that's the case, but for example, if they were to do a gig at the Horseshoe, and I don't know what the Horseshoe pays, but I'm just throwing that name out there, or Bob's Tavern. So they go to Bob's Tavern, they do a gig, Bob pays them $500, but then they want to write off, oh yeah, my transportation to play at Bob's Tavern. Yeah. There can't be a trace back, right? So if they just play Bob's Tavern, it's $500. You know what they do? They can go get their groceries with the $500. They can buy their clothes. They can, as long as it's a consumable, I wouldn't suggest doing all their gigs in cash, because then you won't have anything to write off against. Like they need to have something. You can't say, that you went to Bob's Tavern and then you wrote off the kilometers and you wrote off this and you wrote off that. They're going to say, where's the income from Bob's Tavern? Right? So you have to be, for sure. You got to be careful with that. I think at the end of the day, with wealth comes complexity, right? So with a lot of even the musicians who have a simple kind of lifestyle, Once things become more complex, that's when, you should maybe speak to somebody, right? And a lot of times, if I had 10 cents for everybody says, yeah, I invested in this and watch you, it's going to go to 300%, whatever, right?
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, you have to think, like, every receipt that I get, Stephen, like, I have rental income too. I'll look at it and say, is there a way that I can legitimately, say this is an expense, right? And when somebody comes back and says something. So, but you have to have that legitimacy about it. I claim my rental income on my income tax, right? So it's, and so far so good anyways with my tenants. But I think, I think a part of it, like I said, is organization and just laziness. A lot of them, their lifestyles just are sort of geared toward like staying up all night, waking up at noon, a lot of them, right? Drinking too much, and no, honestly, I mean, that's a big thing, right?
Huge.
And we joke about it, but
problem.
It is, and it's like, well, I don't have time for that. Well, yes, you did have time for that if you didn't drink 12 beers last night and sleep till noon. If you had 3 beers last night, and I feel like I'm doing AA with some of my clients, like honestly, and I suppose, like the one I said, I want you to go out. How much is a beer at the Horseshoe? $10. I want you to go with $40. That's it, right? You can have 2 beers. You're going to get yourself something in the middle, right? And then you can have 2 beers. You're not spending any more. That's it. That's all you're going to go out with, right? And like I said, with him, it was like, wow, I can't believe, like, I really enjoyed that band because I wasn't shit-faced, and and I woke up great the next day. So I think it's it's kind of the culture of the industry. Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, I go out, right? I'm not saying I don't drink. I do drink. But I don't, I think, there's days where it's like, wow, and the older you get, the harder you bounce back, right? So, but yeah, so I've said, like, and I've put on the COVID-10, as they call it, right? So, and that's a big part of the COVID-10 is that. But anyways, that's another discussion for another meeting. But yeah, and it's like, this guy was so high, and he still does it. He still says, we touch base, right? And he says, I'm so, the $50 I spent with you to even just get that piece of advice, he goes, was worth every penny, because, that really helped me. It helped me in so many levels, right? So because I've got 2 kids, I got a 22-year-old and a 17-year-old, right? Of course they don't listen to me. Why would they, right? I'm their mother. But if I can talk to someone like yourself and say, like, dude, come on, like, WTF, like, seriously, like, do you not see this? I have to sort of take that command approach, and without being overbearing, right?
Yeah.
And like, and some people like it, some people don't. Like, I met with a girl, and she was going through she's not in the music industry at all, but she was going through a cash flow, and she wanted a financial planner. And I said, I'm not a magician. I said, look at your statements. I said, Uber Eats, skip the dishes. I said, you need to stop dining out. You need to start cooking from home. She never called me back, but that's okay. We weren't a good fit. But,
that's the way you got to do it. I mean, if you're doing sales, the best ones that do it for the longest time are the people who are able to go, nah, I don't want to, or like, no, like, it's gonna be good. In terms of the work I do,
yeah,
we do business. Sometimes, like, man, you should go here. Like, we're good at it. We have a thing, just to go back about intoxication culture and music. It's not just music. Very prevalent in society at large. Musicians in particular. Like, I've had friends die or suffer terribly from it. And like, some people, for example, I have all over LinkedIn, network stuff, and meetings and the music industry. There's somebody who does a thing about musicians, people who are in nightlife scene and the DJ culture.
Yeah. The club.
Yeah, pretty much. But like, not just rehab, but like, kind of like, she does some sort of yoga thing. I don't know. She sent me I just randomly, but there's people out there who are like you're somebody who's trying to help people be more responsible, be more aware, be literate. Like for example, like here in Ontario, I think the laws are a bit different, but at what point should a musician consider, or any music consider starting like a business, a small business, rather than just as an individual?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that question?
Or if it's kind of random.
Yeah. Sorry. Can you repeat that back?
Yeah, just the last part is. At what point in a person's, kind of career do they consider, for example, you're self-employed, and I don't know how you file or what you do.
I see.
You started a small business, there's different ways that, whoever deals with things.
So at what point should they incorporate?
Or is it incorporate? I mean, I'm not an expert. I'm just asking.
Well, I think I had this conversation with somebody else, and so actually it's funny because he just rebranded, like he was on his own doing his own thing, and now he's got something, and I feel so bad for him because his first big thing as the new thing was supposed to happen March 13th.
Oh, terrible.
I know. I feel so bad for him. Anyways, I he does, I said, have you at least, you can open up a bank, like if you have a bank account that's, Tom Smith Music, right? And you don't necessarily need to incorporate that, right? Incorporation is more to protect you from any liability. I imagine if you go to a club, the club is, and that's another thing, is the liability.
Right,
like if you're having a show, like listen, the Japan Droids, I don't know if you ever seen them live?
No.
Oh, have you ever heard of them?
No, but I have to look them up now.
Okay. These guys, like, people would be encouraged to go up on the stage and throw themselves back and mosh into the crowd.
Love it.
Yeah. So somebody gave me a Yager bomb once, and I was like right up there. And then I thought to myself, what am I doing? Like, I'm not gonna. But what if I did that? What if I jumped up on stage and went, and no one caught me? Right. So the one thing that what I'm getting at is an incorporation protects you from a liability standpoint. But if you're going to the venue, I think it's more the venue that assumes the liability because they're serving the alcohol. Right. So I think if you're just a musician starting out, you need to differentiate between, you as the artist and you as the person. You can still file as a self-employed, like if you wanted to, but I think you really need to draw that line and say, okay, this is my music stuff and this is my personal, right? And I think it makes sense to do that because, you have, but then again, like I said, you have to watch the cash, right? Like if you're doing cash gigs and stuff like that, you need to have something. And even if you make, if you put on the books that you've made $5,000 as an artist, but you have $5,000 in write-offs, that's okay. You're not paying tax, right? So you can't use those write-offs unless you have an income. Again, so you can have small losses, but you've got like $12,000 losses every year. The government's going to look at that and say, what up? You can have, but I think, I'm not an accountant, but I'm just saying from my experiences, when you start generating, I would say $5,000 to $10,000, it will make sense for you to kind of separate your personal from your music business, right?
Your day job and your gigs.
Well, if you have self-employed income, right?
Yeah.
And like what I do is self-employed income.
Right.
So what I get a T4A from my company, from Asante.
Right.
So that's self-employed income. But as an artist, you're not going to get a T4A.
You file self-employed through your employer.
I file self-employed for myself, but I actually have a T4A, right? But as a musician, if you actually have a day gig, but you also are a musician, to incorporate that musician part of it, you can still do, right? But you have to have like good records and you have to be organized. And back to my organization thing, right?
Right.
So, but
on a practical level, I guess having proper invoicing. Like you invoice.
Yeah, you need to have some.
Invoice.
I'm not saying everything, but
time, or not time,
yeah,
date and
yeah,
amount, and
right.
you just have all your invoices. And if you want it outsourced, you can make it from it and be like, listen, all the invoices and self-employed business on top of the check from Mike.
Right. This was the income you have, and you have it verified, like you said, with invoices.
Yeah.
This is your expenses. You had to buy a new keyboard. You need to this, la la la. But the thing with these are the expenses that you incurred in order to generate this income, right? But if they're paying you in cash, that's a whole different thing, right? And but then you got to be careful. Like if they're going to pay you in cash, then that's just money that I don't know. I'm going to say put in a coffee can, but you use
under the bed.
Yeah, under the bed, or if you're going to go buy new pair of shoes or something like that. And another thing is wardrobe, right? People think, yeah, well, I play in my jeans. And I remember somebody telling me they got challenged for this because they tried to write off their wardrobe. And unless you're do you know the band July Talk? No? Okay. Anyways, the guy in July Talk, his name is Peter Dreymanis, and he always wears a little linen white shirt, button shirt. That's all he wears.
Oh yeah,
so,
I know these guys.
Yeah, so Dreymanis can write that off.
They're
because
from Toronto,
that's what he. I'm sorry?
Are they from Toronto? No?
Yeah.
And Japan graduates from Vancouver.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm just.
Yeah, I'm over the mountain. But that is he theoretically could write that off, right? And it's because you wear a black T-shirt all the time, maybe, but you have to be careful with wardrobe, and that's the one thing that they look at and say, hey, I've had people being challenged. You cannot write off, this, that, and the other, right?
Yeah, I remember working in a corporate gig, and I had to buy ties and suits and stuff, and I mean. I feel like maybe if I was really screwed, I could have tried to write that off if I filed self-employed with an employer back then. But I'm just kind of rambling what you said. Cool. Well, I sent you a link in invite to connect here. I was probably going to jump off and see what else is on. I was on with Greg before and Brisket.
Well, if you want to access to my blog.
Yeah,
again,
I shared it on Twitter just now, actually.
Oh, okay. I'm really bad technologically wise, and
I'm good.
so the actual blog, it's my son's friend's dad who's helping me out with the website. But and I'm having problems with the email. I don't know. Anyways, I can send you, or if you go on it, if you look at latest riff, that's the one about today. Right. And if you have any other questions, you can just contact me through that email, ingrid@thewealthymusician.ca, and hopefully I'll get it. And if not,
Yeah, 100%. I shared your stuff on Twitter.
Cool.
I use LinkedIn a lot. And I have to say that with your story and value, because I kind of hate social media, but I use it for my business, whatever, brand, whatever. And started on LinkedIn, and there's a lot of great on there.
I know. I'm on LinkedIn personally, for the day gig. But again, I got to be careful with this and how I have a Instagram account, right? So I have to be super, super careful. I can't even if I say, if you actually look at the about me, it'll say it'll say in the very bottom, no financial advice is not provided, blah blah blah, right? See, I'm just having a conversation with you. I'm not like I said to Mark, if somebody was to come to me and say, hey, can you take a look at my portfolio or whatever, I'd say no. I can't do that, right? We're having a conversation about things that I've experienced. I'm telling my stories, right? And that's not, but again, I have to be, because it's the whole regulatory thing. It's a nightmare, actually.
Right.
So that's why I can't put I think I may have it in there on my LinkedIn, but I can't actually have the wealthy musician.
It's funny, Ingrid, because when I was in corporate and when I was looking at immigration, I was on LinkedIn just as an observer. I never posted. I just
Yeah.
followed.
Oh yeah.
You know, when I got
And even-
this, because there's no rules, I made my first video and I'm having fun with people and stuff.
Yeah, like the thing is, like again, it's I can't even word. I wanted to have like the actually. I think your stage door to a sound future sounds pretty catchy. I thought it was pretty good myself, but but I could not use the word sound financial advice. I was not allowed to use that.
It's copyrighted.
No, it's not actually.
Oh,
see, I ended up.
It implies too much.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
Right.
So it was poo-pooed. But I'm happy with the way things are. You know, I write a monthly blog. People know who I am. And actually, if you ever, I don't even know what's going to happen. The Canadian Music Week. Do you ever head down to Toronto for that at all? Or
I know a lot of Mike from Toronto.
Yeah.
I'm
So I think it's supposed to happen in the fall. But even if that's going to happen, I don't know. But when I volunteer there, and I volunteer in an area called International Marketplace. So what it is, it's like B2B meetings, prearranged, walk up. So I don't know how this happened. I ended up being the cat herder. Like it's all like speed dating with booking agents and festival buyers. So I'm the one that comes around and says, you know, when 1 minute is up, if I do this, it means wrap it up, people.
Yeah.
Right? I got to get the other go. You're at table 3, you go to table 4.
Yep.
And if you're not moving, if I come up like this, that's not good, right? It's like, come on, dude, like move it. Like, what are you doing going to 5? God damn it, you're supposed to go to table 4. Well, you're effing up my system here. Like so it is totally cat herding. It's actually it's a lot of fun, and I think you need a certain personality to, you know. And actually I think I scare some people because
that's good though. You need that. Yeah. Otherwise,
yeah. So I've been doing.
It's fine. I'm
No, you get back there, number. And you know, during I think they did this during Indie Week. So I know the guys that run Indie Week, Daryl and Cameron, really well. And so I spoke on a panel during Indie Week with Unison Benevolent. And anyways, I'm actually going to be doing something out west in a couple weeks. What they call? I forget what it's called. The guy's name's Liam. So similar, and he actually came to the Indie Week one, but they got me to do the B2B meetings for Indie Week, but I was the only one, right? So thank God I brought my kids cowbell, you know, because it was like, oh my God, I was like ready for a drink after that was over. Anyways, it was good, but a lot of fun.
It's funny. I just want to share, like last night I was in Tech virtual comp by Brian San Francisco. We did we have these Zoom rooms, so it's like this, but it's a Zoom room, and they panel it in the main room. Hey, yes, for a minute. Oh wait, and then you join room, and you're plopped into like either one person or 3 other people. You're like, okay, pitch, and then you just kind of, you know how it works, and then it counts down after like 5 minutes or whatever in the room. I met a bunch of people, and it was like, virtual. Still able.
Yeah, and I've done some meetings on Microsoft Teams and on Zoom. So, but I tell you, like, you know, working from home can be good. It can also make you very lazy.
It's hard.
And it's like, oh, that means I have to put makeup on. I gotta get on my pajamas, and so. But anyways, yeah. So have you seen anything else in the show?
I was on Expo.
Yeah.
I was doing this with Eric Alper before and Chris Burkett.
I
don't know if you know those guys. They're like
I've heard the name Eric.
Yeah, Eric has like 700,000 followers on Twitter. He's radio show. He's pretty legendary. Same with Chris Burkett. Chris Burkett is like by Tony. He produced David Codes, and he's working with Marie and worked on like songs and stuff. There's a guy from the UK who literally had like her. He was like a home musician who just like some band was like, "Come on tour with us, we're going to tour in Germany for 3 times." Like, do it.
Yeah.
And he just like You know,
That's cool.
it was in the 70s. Anyways, yeah. Gonna go do some of that. It's nice to meet you, and
Yeah, nice to meet you too. So you can send me if you want to put me on LinkedIn. That's cool. And then you can send me like and I can add your email to my blog, or you want to just give it to me? I can write it down, or if you want.
Yeah, S.
Yeah.
L. Rachel. RACHEL.
Yeah.
Bass. Like slap the bass. Like that one.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
At gmail.com. And Steven, Opera Music.
My daughter used to play bass in grade school, but she kind of lost interest after grade 8. But
it's funny. I have a music bug. I've tried to leave music, and you're like, I'm done. I always come back. So I'm stuck with the bass.
my neighbor, he's a blues musician more, right? Yeah. And the guy that plays his bass is amazing. Like he has a stand-up bass like that, and he'll pluck it, and he also has like an electric bass as well. So it's he's really good. But yeah, it's too bad that she lost interest. I think her music teacher was horrible in grade 8, quite frankly. But
bad music teachers?
Yeah.
Ruined musician.
Oh yeah.
Never went to music school because I was scared of losing my passion. I've worked with many musicians who have gone to school, some of which have careers, portion careers in Toronto. In terms of music science, I can probably refer you to a bunch of people. I don't know how good they are with their craft. Anyways. But a lot of these people who went to school, like they don't. It's like music's become the whole thing. I don't know. I used to do lessons and we kind of fun because it's so hard to do. If you're learning it. Even when you're learning, it needs music for fun and teacher and like you were talking more about you being authority, but you don't want to. Maybe that was another talking about see and being on it, how to like nurture. You kind of in with love, but love because that flourish. Nothing. You need to like engage them and entertain them so that then they're like happy to like learn. Running all the fields and all 12 teams, like it's not fun, but when you do it every hours, and it's like learning the alphabet, and you're able to play a blues, an A flat, outs, an I or is, and those are those boring parts allow you to feel that fun stuff. Anyway,
like I really wanted to learn the ukulele, right? Because everybody wants ukulele. So I have this like crappy old one for my kids, and the problem is I'm left-handed, so I think I figured out a C, and and that's as far as I got. It's like because it just seems weird to me. Like I should be playing I should be playing left-handed, right? Not this way, because it's all my brain is. Anyways, I've never been musically inclined myself. I don't know why that is. My parents made me. I mean, I used to play flute in public school or whatever, but I wouldn't give me a flute right now or a recorder. I wouldn't know what to do, right? All I remember is face, and every good boy deserves fudge, and that's about the end of it for me. So, anyways, that's why you do what you do, and that's why I do what I do, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Nice to connect.
Yeah, you too.
And I'll see you around. Have an amazing day. Take care.
Okay, thanks. Nice chatting. Take care. Bye. Whew.